Ooh. Felix here, and welcome to this pre-market live. We've got the Tesla news, we've got inflation data out, we've got Wall Street saying there is an amazing opportunity ahead of us. I want you to understand all of that and more in the next 20 minutes or so. So stick around, smash the you-know-what, ask questions. I'll do my utmost to answer them all, and let's dive straight in. There we go. Strong feelings on the Tesla story there. Okay, we'll dive into that in a moment, Drew. I'll give you my perspective on that, and I'll also give you Wall Street's perspective on that because we actually have data points which I think are going to blow your socks off. So first off, PPI, producer price inflation. Yes, it really, really matters, especially after the high inflation data yesterday. This data has just come in lower than expected. Whoopie-doo-dee-da. 0% PPI. We were expecting it to be 0.1%. It was 0.2% last week, so that's wonderful news. Core PPI came in as expected at 0.2, which is very, very, very good news. And ex-food, energy, and trade, I'm not quite sure what's left, but anyway, it's down, it's down, it's down, and that's a good thing, right? We do get at 10 o'clock out consumer sentiment expectations. That actually does matter, and also the consumer inflation expectations, but also really matter. So watch out for those. But the morning kicking off quite nicely there, not perhaps for Tesla investors, but we'll get to that story in just a minute. Now, Goldman Sachs is basically telling us this, and this is really important. They're saying, okay, there are concerns around too much AI spending. There are concerns around, is the interest rate going to go up, down, sideways, round and round? And what the heck's going to happen in the US election? So these are three kind of uncertainties out there, and that's what's dragging the market down. And the market is indeed pricing in less rate cuts for this year. We had this drop there in green, that there in green. But we are pricing in more rate cuts in 2025. So what does that mean? It just means the party is slightly postponed, but it's still happening. There will be a wedding. It's just been kicked back by a month for whatever reason. So the overall rate cut expectations actually haven't really changed all that much. They're just pushed back a little bit, which means the party will come just a little bit later, right? So just confused that Kevin says, jump out of bed. It's 9 a.m. Is he still waiting on the stream or something? Weird. I thought we were live. What Goldman Sachs are saying next, and these are the kind of the smart investment bankers out there, they're saying as we move beyond the earnings season kicking off today, and we'll talk about that as well, the US election, 5th of November, and the FOMC meetings over the next few weeks, Goldman expects a relaxation to lead to a tailwind for stocks, which is another way of saying, moon, if that was a rocket. You get the idea. Looks more like a firecracker, doesn't it? So they're basically saying, yes, we have to get through this dip of earnings and election and all of that, but the rally will come. And when it comes, everyone's going to be like, oh, I didn't see that one coming, right? And going to miss it. So I think that's important. So I'm going to show you Goldman Sachs' actual trades. They put out like 25 trades that they like for right now. And then we're going to get into the Tesla story, which seems to be what everyone's talking about in the chat here. How do I buy more at 200, Kevin? Well, put options, maybe sell some. But I've got something else rather exciting to share with you. At least I think it's very exciting. Imagine if you knew how to spot stocks before they break out, before they really go up. This is a trade I've got on FOA. Probably never heard of it, right? It's a random little finance stock. It broke out here, right? And it's up 58% in 14 days. Wouldn't it be nice to know how to spot that point? Because there is a rule to it. Actually, it's 4 rules. You put them together, it becomes 1 rule. Or imagine never holding a stock that's collapsing. Any of you PayPal investors out there, you might have bought a bit up here, a bit up there, a bit up there. And then as it collapsed, you kept buying because somebody told you, oh, if you loved it at whatever it was, $300, you'll love it even more at 200. And then it went to 100 and you told yourself, well, I loved it at 300, must be an amazing stock at 100. And you had this whole misery period. Then add to that about a year and a half of the stock going absolutely nowhere, tying up all your money and you getting bugger all returns. And then probably most people sell about there. Why? They give up. They get frustrated. And guess what? That's exactly the point before we break out. Tesla's up 25%. But it doesn't actually have to be that way. There is actually a rule book that goes back to the 1970s. And it's completely unchanged. And it's a little bit tweaked to change how the market works. But essentially, it's very, very much the same thing. And I'll show you how. Let me draw a little line here, if I may. I'll draw a little green line here. You see at the top here, we sort of went sideways a little bit. We had this low, and that low. And if you had simply drawn a line on your chart and connected those, well, you certainly would have exited there. If you're a bit more cautious, you probably would have gotten out at the top there or even there. And why is it predictable? Because you broke through a certain moving average line. Volume absolutely spiked on the collapse of the stock. And our momentum indicator absolutely collapsed down here. So there was really no reason at all for anybody to go through this and then that if they just knew the rules. Problem is, people don't trade with rules. People don't even invest with rules. And this applies to traders and stock investors absolutely alike. So if you want to learn how we do that, I've recorded a 35-minute or so masterclass. Maybe a bit of a grandiose title for it, but I'll walk you through it. I'll give you the actual rules. So if you want to come and learn them, you can literally watch it straight after this. It's not live. You just watch it back. Go to felixfriends.org/get-free, and you learn the 4 patterns that make up the stock market and how to spot them, and how to therefore beat the market, which is really what we're all about. So see the link down below in the description, felixfriends.get-free, and after this video, go and watch it, okay? So that's my little announcement. I'm very excited by that because we're going to launch something really, really, really cool there at the end of this month, and I'm super excited by it. No options, no margin accounts, nothing complicated. It's the simplest thing you could ever do to make money, which is what I do to make money. I've done for years. So back to Goldman Sachs, and then we're going to go over to Tesla, of course. You might want to take a screenshot of this. This is Goldman Sachs's list of companies where they think they have the most upside during earnings season. So it starts with Gap here, Citigroup, Merck, ADT, Dell, Broadcom, Nvidia, Snowflake, Toast. Take a screenshot of it if you like, because we're going to move on. And then these are the ones that they hate. Might also be interesting to take a screenshot of that, like Upstart, for example, or Clorox, unless we get a pandemic. So I think that's hopefully quite useful. I'm not going to run through them all. You do take a screenshot, and I'll go back up again. You can take another one. There we go. And snap. And you can run through those in your own time. Now, I want to talk a little bit about Tesla. And yeah, we're definitely working on a video to really go into the nitty-gritty of this. But let's dive into some numbers here. This is from, I want to say Citigroup, but I might be wrong on that. No, it's Goldman Sachs. There we go, Goldman Sachs, which is probably slightly better data in that case. And this is the robo-taxi opportunity. Now, if you saw the robo-taxi, I thought it looked rather snazzy. If you just go on X, you'll be littered with pictures of the bloody thing. I also, while it was live, that's the sort of bus that they put out, which I think looks rather cool. But what was the first picture I took of the thing? There it is. That's Elon getting into one. No steering wheel inside, nothing. And then the inside looks like this. There we go. You just sit in the middle and you select your destination, and then it takes you there. I actually think this screen is also a massive revenue opportunity, but we'll get into that in a moment. And then it literally just takes you there. So it looks kind of cool. I think it looks very, very cool. And the next thing is robots. And we won't dive into too much detail there today, but ever had a beer served to you by a robot with a cowboy hat on? Very, very, very cool stuff. And then he does a little victory V sign for the selfie. So this is a whole new, I mean, Elon described it as, what did he say? He said, I took a screenshot of it. Somewhere. He basically said it's the biggest product ever. So what about the numbers then? What about the numbers, my friend? You don't think anyone's going to buy the bus? I think it'll be the new limo, my friend. And I think, do you know how many electric buses BYD is selling in the US? Quite a lot. Around the world, loads. Paris, LA, South California, they're bloody everywhere. So Tesla can do the same thing. So I think it's a good idea. Swabia, you forget your free video is not playing. Maybe because you're playing this video? Do you think that could be it? You can't handle 2 videos, maybe? Try it on another browser. If that doesn't work, Swabia, drop me an email and we'll fix it for you. Okay, robo-taxi opportunity, right? So let's just sort of say the average trip cost is $15. And then you've got, well, how many trips per day? 5,000 or 100,000 or 1 million? So just sort of go into the middle here. Say 100,000 robo-taxi trips. And no buffering. Yes, my Wi-Fi people, whoever laid the cable, they reset my account apparently on my connection, which is brilliant. So say 100,000 trips a day at $15. That is a $10 billion revenue opportunity for Tesla. It's not bad, right? Now, what if you got 1 million robo-taxis in operation? Sort of the end game, right? And the average trip by that point, say, costs $25. Well, now you get 100 to 182 billion in revenue. Pretty extraordinary, right? If the average trip cost was $35, you'd go from sort of 150 to 255 billion in revenue. That's pretty extraordinary. What's Tesla's revenue right now? Tesla revenue. 25 billion a quarter, 100 billion a year, say, right? So this could very, very reasonably double revenue. And of course, the margins are going to be far better. Now, Elon said you can buy them, so Tesla won't necessarily own them all. They could start a finance subsidiary that buys the cars and then runs them and makes a 90% margin. That's probably a pretty good, decent business model. But he's basically saying Uber drivers could buy a bunch of them, buy 5 or 10, and then run them as a fleet and maintain them, which is a reasonable business idea for somebody who wants to do that kind of thing. So surprised they can't fit 4 people in it. I just think the average taxi trip is probably a single individual or a couple. So I'm sure they've done some research on that. But in addition, they've got that bus thing, right? Which is another idea. And we're also going to get full autonomous driving in Texas and California, apparently next year, which is also kind of exciting. Now, I'm very excited by this. I think this is tremendous. I think people are always throwing up, oh, it doesn't work for this reason or that reason or regulation or whatnot. But that's what happens with every innovation. And I think the real opportunity is the robots. I honestly think the robots are just going to be insane. I think that revenue will dwarf what Tesla is right now. That's my view on that. And I could be wrong on that, but that's my view on that. No power here in Tampa, says G. I'm very sorry to hear that, my friend. I'm glad you're all right, really. Is it 2 people in the golden retriever? Yes, I hope so. I hope there is space for a golden retriever. That would be very, very important. I thought Elon would make a bigger taxi. Well, I guess it's about cost per mile, right? And he sort of went into that, and we'll dig a little bit more deeper into that. You want to make sure it's cheap to run. That's really the thing. And at the moment, EVs are cheaper to run for smaller vehicles. I can kind of see the sense of that. Plus, if you need to move 4 people, you just book 2 robo-taxis. Whereas if the average trip is just 1 or 2 people and you're always wasting 2 seats, it's probably not particularly efficient. And I think that's also why the smaller bus that he showed there is actually a good idea, because for most routes, you don't need these, 100-seater buses, right? Did we take a picture of that? No, I don't think we did, but it's all over the bloody press. I mean, you can see it everywhere. So I think this is massive, and I know the market isn't particularly thrilled with it right now, which seems to be what happens at after every Tesla event. This is pre-market here. We started at 240. We're trading at 222 right now, which, isn't exactly wonderful. Support sits here at 220 from the options market, but that's just, people want everything now, and they are not willing to wait for 2 years to get the golden goose. The reality is, maybe even if it takes us 3 years, maybe 4 years, you don't have to wait. The breakout will happen when people believe it's happening, right? Right now, people are not believing we're going to get proper autonomous driving. But Waymo is doing it. Waymo is doing it in California. They're starting in Texas. So if they can get the license, Tesla will get the license. So it's going to happen, my friend. The days of driving a car yourself are numbered, because there simply won't be a steering wheel in the things. You won't be able to do anything about it. And if you do want to drive it yourself, your insurance costs are going to be so freaking sky high that it'll basically be a massive luxury to drive your own car, sports cars and so on. But the insurance costs will be 10 times what they are right now. And Model 3 and Model Y can also be cybercabs. Yeah, absolutely. Precisely. It's just for the purpose-built ones, I'm sure the efficiency sweet spot is exactly where it is. Now, let's go back to a little bit more broader market. Of course, feel free to ask me questions, and I'll do my utmost to answer them. We get banks' earnings out today, right? Who's reporting today? Let's have a look. Earnings. Friday. JP Morgan, Wells Fargo, BlackRock, Bank of New York, Mellon, they're reporting today. And then next week we get Bank of America, Goldman Sachs, and Citigroup. And they always kick off earnings season. And look, so far the numbers look pretty good. They're all green. They're all beating here on all fronts, which is good news. And guess what? Banks love the fourth quarter of the year, which is also why we have some finance trades open right now. This is October to December, the last 3 months. And can you see the performance? This is 2024, this here, right? On average, we massively outperform the rest of the year. Plus, banks also outperform the S&P in October, November, December historically. October might be a little bit wavery still because of the whole election malarkey, but November, December, I think should be pretty glorious. So I expect banks to do very well, which also will lift the market. You guys talking about Trump and so on. Yeah, there's a lot of heatiness out there about that. But honestly, this is what I would focus on. Don't focus on politics. You can't do that much about it. You can vote. That's pretty much all you can do. Wouldn't it be nice to spot the entry point when PayPal starts to explode? Volume picks up. We break through the moving average lines. We gap up. And then we're up 23% in the next 51 days. That entry point has a rule to it. And it's actually very, very easy to learn. If you want to learn it, as I said, I've recorded a little masterclass for you. Or this one here, SEZL. Massive buy flag there if you know what you're looking for. 115% up since, right? Glorious. So do you want to learn that? I suggest you might want to check it out. It's completely free of charge. Just watch my masterclass, felixprehn.org/get free, and I'll teach you those rules. I'll show you those trades. I'll show you the charts. I'll walk you through the actual rules. So check it out. Learn the 4 patterns that there are to the market. And if you then want to learn more with us, we'll also offer mentoring on that starting at the end of the month. But if you just want to watch the free masterclass, you're also super welcome to. I always say we put out about 95% of our knowledge for free. And then really what we do in the mentoring is we we hold your hand and we give you experience, and we have investment bankers coach you one-on-one and all that kind of good stuff. So check it out. Which finance trades do you have open right now? FOA, for example, which is the stock I just showed you up there at the top, which is, doing rather nicely, this one here. And guess where we spotted the entry? Exactly there, where the breakout is. Because if you know what to look for, you'll find it. You'll look for it. And for our future mentees on this stock investing / stock trading program, we'll also give you our charts every week. So I'll share with you exactly what the charts are, what I'm looking at, and everything else. Why? Just to save you a ton of research, because it's time consuming to go through this stuff. So there we are. Check it out. felixprehn.org / get free. Watch the full video, and then you will know what you're doing. Show me one loss, Alan. Oh, I'll show you losses all the time, my friend. We run losses all the time. That's the whole point. We have automated risk management. So we take plenty of small losses. But the important thing is that they are small losses. So if you watch some of I've got videos on trading and so on. I'll walk you through losses. We have losses every month. Of course we do. FSD isn't for me. I love driving the Model Y. Well, I'm glad you're enjoying it. You will be allowed to for the moment, but eventually there won't be a steering wheel in it. It'd probably be a really expensive extra to get a steering wheel and then an expensive insurance policy on top. If we look at the stocks out there, well, Tesla looking a bit bleak. It just shows how short-term the market is. I think it's an enormous opportunity. That's just my opinion, of course. I think the market's short-termism is an absolutely wonderful thing to take advantage of. NVIDIA here, this is a minute chart, so just so you understand. What we're looking at here is trading at 134 here, which is half, which is decent, right? Decent. If we go on a day chart, where is she? There she is, sort of near the top of that peaking range there. And 135 continues to be the resistance. See that up here? 135 continues to be the resistance. The software I'm using, by the way, is tradevision.io. That's the software that we built for this. Is Winston buying? Oh, Winston's always buying. He's actually asleep outside the door. David, you didn't get a Trade Vision confirmation email. David, would you drop me an email and I'll get that fixed for you? Literally, drop me an email at felix@goatacademy.org, and I'll get support to reach out to you. Okay. Alternatively, you could obviously use the help chat function on the website, but you can just reach out to me as well. Okay, so there's NVIDIA. Anything else we care to look at? Maybe. How about SoFi? Very, very rate sensitive, so it's been suffering a bit. But look at that! And we are at 868, which is pretty sweet. Where is the resistance? It's at 850 and at $9. So still a little hard. But what have we done? We have certainly formed a higher high than the previous one and the previous high, which is just absolutely marveloso. And so our trend continues: higher highs, higher lows. That's really all we can ask for. That's really all we need. Now, Tesla options, will they get cheaper? That's a good point. They should. At the moment, IV percent is 95, so I would, and that drop will do it. So the market opens, if it recovers a bit, they should get significantly cheaper. So I'm not buying options at a 95% IV. That is just stupid stuff. So, and we don't want to do stupid stuff, do we? You could just buy and hold Tesla for 10 years and win. Yeah, you could, but I think we can do a little better than that. But that's just my point of view, because stocks move through patterns, right? Always the same freaking pattern. And if you know what the patterns look like, if you know what to look for the breakout, then, you buy here rather than somewhere up here, right? And that's really what it's all about, I think. Isn't it about maximizing returns? I certainly think it is. Trading at 43.43 for Palantir, which I think is a very, very good outcome. PayPal, which I just mentioned, is down a bit at 79, but again, nothing horrific. If you look at the trend here, higher low, higher high. So it's all okay. It's just a little move down, nothing particularly dramatic here right now. Do you think TradeVision will have an app in 2025? Yes. I would swear on it. Why? Because I saw the registrations today for the App Store for Play Store and the iOS App Store. We were just applying for access, but no, it's still in progress. So I'm not promising it for a particular date, but for sure we'll have an app. We'll have an app. We're definitely working on that because I appreciate so many people want to use mobiles to get access to good data, right? So it's coming. It's coming. Browser change helped. Firefox won't do, but Edge does. Okay, so okay, I'm very glad that works for you. Thanks for persevering. AMD did it bottom yesterday. Yeah, you don't want to guess bottoms. You don't ever want to guess market bottoms. It's such a mistake to do that. I mean, do you mean that here is the market bottom? How would you possibly know? Well, that was a breakout with a falling moving average line, so that isn't particularly good. So I would half expect it to pull back a little bit and then give us the rebound. AI thought it was a buy here at 172. It might be, but it depends a little bit on whether we break out of this new high here now. So I'd be a little bit cautious. The sell-off yesterday was pretty intense with the volume here in the background. You see the volume there? It's pretty strong. So I like to be entirely rules-based when I buy stuff, rather than just, pray and wish and hope that I've got the bottom right. So again, if you want to learn how we do that, check out the 35-minute masterclass I recorded for you at felixprehn.org/get free, and I literally give you stock investing / stock trading rules. It works the same, whether you're a trader or investor. It's exactly the same process. Sahara, appreciate you. Thank you. Will the TradeVision app include a profit tracking option? Yes. The profit tracking will come first because that's looking already pretty good. I've played with it. We have a new developer who just joined us full-time this month, and he's working on that, and he's a really smart kid. So that's going to come probably first. But the mobile app will initially probably be more charting and then data, and then eventually we will keep adding that to it. It's a bit of a process, right? So we just try to prioritize whatever is the highest value for people. How do you guys get those graphs? You go here, tradevision.io. So A, they give you charts. B, they give you the trend. And then C, if you want to go a little bit deeper, they give you actually the resistance, the market positions here. So the green lines, the biggest green lines are your resistance on the way up. The biggest red lines are your support on the way down. We also have a bit more of a simplified chart, which really just shows you the trend, right? So even for something like SPY up 19% since the beginning of 2022, we're up 34%, right, with our little indicator here. And it works pretty well for most stocks. As say for Tesla, it's worked very, very well. And of course, not financial advice, and past performance isn't the promise of future performance and all of that. But buy and hold, you'd be down 44% from the beginning of 2022. With our little trade runs here, you'd be up 81% so far. So I think we're doing quite nicely there. Nathan, those strike bars represent open interest. So actual positioning, like aggregate positioning. Profit tracking, yeah, I know, I'm excited about that too, because profit tracking is a bitch, as Charlie Munger would say. So may his soul rest in peace. Meta, yeah, we called it a buy here at 525 in TradeVision. And right now we're at 584. So we've more than tripled the buy and hold strategy, which is 49% up. We're 175% up, which is quite sweet. It's definitely still in that green zone. It's just we've got this high here. That high is a little bit lower. So would I enter here? No. I think it's like a hold, as it calls it. That was the entry point. So one of my rules is don't buy too late. Here comes the market. Yes. Do you want to see it? Shall we look at say, Tesla? which is obviously the big thing today. There's something about Tesla events. The market just absolutely freaking hates them. Market should be open now. We're trading down here at 218. Yikes. And if we go on a minute chart, if we may. This is the minute chart. So this was the market, pre-market open. And then as we open now here on the market at 8:30, big volume, bit of panic selling, but we're kind of recovering a little bit here, right? Trading at 218.75. So rebounding just a touch, but is that the market bottom? Who knows? Why does the web say that trade vision is a better? Because it is. It is. It's a work in progress. And as features get more perfect, we remove the beta logo. So when you consider buying too late, the next day it is probably fine. It's really about how far are you away from the 50-day moving average line. If you've just bounced off 10% and then you buy, probably a little late. That's kind of the way I look at that. So we kind of want to be close to those opportunities, which is why in our new stock trading / stock investing program, I have a script that runs through all the charts every single day, and I'll be flagging those for everybody in there so that you save some research and you miss less opportunities, which is really what it's all about. PayPal is up. That's nice to see. Would alerts for gold and death crosses make sense, says Carlos? Yeah, we're going to work on a bunch of alerts initially, like on the basis of your watch list and stuff like that. And then you can also be able to set alerts, so you get them in email or ping or whatever you prefer. So yeah, I think alerts is definitely a good thing to look at. So yeah, there's plenty of ideas of what we could set up for sure. Carlos says Elon is a bad communicator. I mean, I quite like the honesty. He just says it as he sees it. It's not what Wall Street is used to. I think that's what got a lot to do with it. So people kind of, they expectations are very high, and people wanted robo taxis like this month or something, and that was never going to happen. So for me, I have patience with longer term stocks like that, and I think in the long run, I think Tesla is literally like 10% of what it is right now. That's honestly my view, but we'll see. See, there's people like Albin say, 2 billion cars in the world. It'll take 500 years to replace them. Are there really 2 billion cars in the world? That seems like a lot of cars. You don't have to replace all the cars in the world. You just have to replace the cars in first world countries, a percentage of it. Start in the US. Replace taxis. That's really what it's about. Replace some forms of public transport, make it affordable. And I think he made a very good point. Tesla's still dropping when he said, you're in a car. How many hours a week do you use it? I don't know, 10 hours, 20 hours or something. There are 168 hours in a week. So it's just super, super inefficient. So if they drive themselves, they're a revenue source for you. Can make a lot of sense, I think. There isn't enough lithium in the world. You see, there is also that. We were also going to run out of oil. Remember that, Kilgore? We were going to run out of oil. All the forests were going to die. The snow caps, the Arctic and Antarctic were going to melt. We were all going to drown. The sun was going to kill us. Remember the ozone layer? There's a lot of stuff like that out there. It's very easy to say why things are going to fail. And that's why so few people actually are really push us forward. And Elon Musk is one of those. So he's a very, very rare individual. But yeah, right now Tesla is down about 10%. So definitely the market is a momentum-driven beast, and momentum is saying we are for some reason disappointed. I wouldn't be surprised if we don't recover somewhat today, and at least not today, I think tomorrow. But who knows? We'll see. Nobody's got a crystal ball on that. But yeah, right now it looks terrible. We have plenty of lithium. I read the other day that the Chinese are extracting lithium from seawater. So I think there's plenty of lithium. The ozone layer, yeah, remember that? I was brought up with that, how the ozone, our freezers were apparently killing the ozone layer, and there was acid rain that was killing all of our forests. And there is always, follow the money, there is always somebody with an agenda to sell something. And I think in the 80s and 90s, it was fridges or white goods or something. And I think right now it's nuclear power, right? The whole climate change thing is just distilling all the types of pollution in the world to one, which is carbon. Why do we not care about the other ones? Because that way we can say that nuclear power is clean, it's carbon neutral, and it's now ESG rated, which is weird because it was like the worst thing ever in the 90s. So it's just PR, follow the money, follow the investors, and you'll see through it. It's all a load of nonsense, the whole thing. I'm not saying, I think pollution is a serious thing, but picking one seems very, very arbitrary. Jack, you staked out the South Pole in 2019. Seriously, that's very, very cool. Is it very, very cold? That's probably a very silly question, but I imagine it must be. Opportunity to buy more Tesla? Yeah, exactly. That's the way I look at that. And it's pinging up a little bit here by the looks of it. Where is our support? It's around 220 for this week here, 220, which is that little red line there, which is, how strong is that? Yeah, 29,000 put options there at 220. As they take profits, these guys at 220, they trigger buying. So it's quite likely, I think, that we end the day above 220, but who knows? Some people were disappointed, it seems. I think, Nathan, you're right. There's also people who just follow the crowd, right? They didn't watch it. If you watched it, I'd recommend you watch it. You only have to watch about 15 minutes of it, where they actually present the cars and then the robots, and then go on Twitter or X, as it's now called, and watch some of the clips. And I think, you see stuff like this, and that guy is literally serving a beer or whatever he's serving. That's pretty cool. And you see people having conversations with them. You see people playing, rock, paper, scissors with these robots. And it's actually very impressive. I must say, very impressive. Even I think the robo-taxi, it's very simple. It's very slick. They've really minimized the whole thing. And, big screen, big real estate. Think about all the stuff you could sell on that when people are sitting in there. And just drives you around. No steering wheel, nothing. It looks very Tesla-like. Why wouldn't it? And I think it's very well done. I think it's very smart. I think they're going to do it faster than everybody else out there. JN, it's sad you love driving. You still be allowed to drive, my friend. It's just depends on, there are people who drive to work for 2 hours every day, stuck in traffic, bumper to bumper. That isn't fun, right? That's never fun. So it'd be better if you could take a nap or work or do something productive. And then there are people who take a beautiful sports car and drive along, the south of France or something like that. And yeah, that's enjoyable. I enjoy that. But I don't enjoy driving in rush hour. Like, never have, never will. So I have a driver, but, I won't need a driver. I'll have a self-driving car. It's brilliant. Jack says the ice moves 33 feet a year. Very linear, not at the coast though. 273 feet a year. Wow, that seems like a lot. So maps go instantly out of style, basically. Right. Is 3D printing still around? Yes, it is, and actually, it's used in manufacturing. Under what conditions would you buy an IPO? Pretty hard pressed to make me buy an IPO. The more you understand the shenanigans that go on the private equity side, you understand that you are the exit. At the IPO, you buy it and you are the exit for the private equity investors. And you have to ask yourself, why are they exiting? So by the nature of the beast, you're probably overpaying. And it can turn out well, but most of the time it doesn't. So I'm not generally a fan of IPOs. Righty-ho, my friends. Any other questions? Anything you wanna know? I'll do you a very, very quick recap if you've just tuned in, if I'm allowed. Microsoft says, no, you have insulted the leader with his nuclear power plants, which of course is Bill Gates, right? I think Bill Gates is one of the very, very people funding the entire climate change propaganda. That's a popular statement. And I like the environment. I really do. I care about it a great deal. But I just think carbon is not the only thing that we should be concerned about. Inflation, producer price inflation, rather marvelously is at 0%, which is good news after yesterday's consumer inflation data. PPI is sort of leading, because if you think about it, producers, which are manufacturers, what do? Well, they make stuff, and then they sell that stuff to consumers, right? So the producer price inflation index is a little bit more ahead looking, right? So that's very good news. Yeah, that's really all there is to inflation. Goldman Sachs said at the moment the market's worried about too much AI spending, interest rates, where they're going, the US election, what Muppet are you going to elect? And then the outcome of that is that we are expecting in green here less rate cuts in 2024, but more rate cuts in 2025. So what they're really saying is party is coming, it's just slightly delayed. And therefore, they say, as we move beyond earnings season, just kicked off today rather nicely, the US election and the Fed, we, Goldman Sachs, expect a relaxation to lead to tailwinds for stocks, to a tailwind for stocks as a party incoming. And then I showed you Goldman Sachs' trades, but I also said to you, wouldn't it be nice if you knew how to spot breakouts? Well, I made a video for you. I call it a masterclass, rather grandiosely. And you can watch it for free at felixprehn.org/get-free, and I'll teach you what the rules are to spotting those breakouts, because it's insanely predictable. And you will also be able to spot every single crash, by the way, because you could have gotten out of PayPal up there. That was the point to get out. And I don't say that with hindsight. I'm just saying if you followed my rules, you would have gotten out there rather than letting it collapse by $220 and then, selling out somewhere down here just as it's about to rally. So learn those rules. Check it out at felixprehn.org/get-free. It's about a 35-minute video, something like that. I try to be succinct. I struggle with it, apparently. And if you want to get Goldman's earnings trades here, these are their upside trades. And of course, take it with a pinch of salt. It's just a bunch of, white-nosed bankers. And take a screenshot of it if you like. 1, 2, 3, click. Yeah, there we go. And then we look at the robo-taxi opportunity, again from Goldman Sachs. And they're basically saying, look, say there are 100,000 robo-taxis out there and say each trip costs $25 on average, then say they did 20 journeys a day, you would add 18 billion to Tesla's revenue, which would be about 20% more than right now. Say you get to 1 million robo-taxis out there, then you would add maybe 100 to 180 billion, which would be double to triple. The present revenue, which would be quite something at a high margin, right? Uber's not afraid of robo-taxis, up 6.6%. Probably because they're not coming tomorrow. I think that's really it. Elon said they'd be in production before 2027. That's what he said. He said first 2026, and he said, let me correct myself, before 2027. So bit of a window for Uber. And quite frankly, I think Uber will buy them. I think Uber will be buying Tesla robo-taxis because Elon said, you can buy these. We won't just run them. Like he literally gave the example, an Uber driver can buy a fleet of Tesla cybercabs and run them at a profit. So it's good for Uber. So Elon isn't saying we're going to take out Uber. And I've always said this the whole time. This is going to be good for Uber. It just means more availability, no drivers, so less cost. And why wouldn't Tesla sell them? Like, why wouldn't they? Makes absolute sense. I mean, this makes a lot of sense. So in conclusion, do you think we should buy more Tesla stock? Well, you have to come to that conclusion yourself, I'm afraid, my friend. I am long-term very, very bullish on Tesla. I think not just the robo-taxis, but I think the actual robots are an absolute. I mean, Elon called it the the biggest product launch ever. It'll be the biggest product in the world. I think those robots, as long as they pull them off, there won't be a thing that's sold as well with as much profit as those bloody robots, because they'll just replace human labor. And as he said, it'll just lower the cost of everything, goods and services, and it'll mean quality of life will go massively through the roof, as all inventions and innovations have done over the centuries. So I think it's a very, very good thing. And Sean, yeah, it's always good to wait for breakouts. That's exactly what I'm saying. That's exactly what I teach. So yeah, that's kind of where we are. We looked at bank stuff a little bit here. Gave you a few more examples of some, like PayPal. The breakout was here, right here. It's up 25% or something since then. So if you want to learn how you spot those breakouts, it really is very, very simple. Then watch my masterclass at felixprehn.org/get-free, or SEZL, for example. A nice trade here we spotted. We spotted it here, and now it's up 100-something%. And it's not rocket science, and we don't need options or margins accounts or anything complicated. We just buy the stock. Very, very simple. We automate our risk management. We automate our profit taking. Very, very, very simple. So come and learn it. Here we go. felixprehn.org/get-free, and watch me teach you that for about half an hour or so. And I wish you a beautiful, beautiful weekend. I'll be going through all my favorite stocks tomorrow and put out a video on that if you care to see it. We're working on a robo taxi takedown. We really want to go into the numbers and what it would mean for valuations for the robo taxis and the robots. So we're working on that. It's going to come out over the next few days. And I thank you for tuning in. I thank you for watching. I hope you come and learn with us at felixprehn.org/get-free. We've got a pretty exciting, very exciting mentorship program there for the first 30 people coming up, which I'm super excited about. I'm going to kick that off this month and get more people to financial freedom, which is what this is all about. So cheers. Thanks for tuning in.